If Trump wins, he will never govern. The Washington Wall Street establishment won't allow it. If Hillary wins, I think the recount starts the next morning. I'm not talking about Nevada. I'm talking about 10 House committees with the subpoena power digging into 55,000 WikiLeaks, 33,000 deleted emails, which will show up somewhere, including on the spy satellite in the sky.
So gridlock.
So there will be total gridlock.
Sounds
and not only that,
gridlock.
I think you will have Watergate 2.0 writ large. You will have a frozen government. There will be no debt ceiling increase in March. There will be shutdown after shutdown when we reach the 20 trillion marker that they won't walk the plank for. There will be no handoff of the baton, as you were talking about before, from a Fed that is out of dry powder to fiscal policy. Never going to happen. And so therefore, when the economy finally hits the skids, and we're not going to go 138 months without a recession, and that's what would happen in the next presidency, there will be no bailout. Wall Street will crash, and we will finally see this dream world, this huge bubble that we've been living in, come crashing down. That's where we're heading.
Austin, David's not the only one that talks about gridlock in Washington continuing. If you believe the way the market's been trading, it's kind of rooting for it. I mean, if your candidate, if Hillary does win the presidency, how effectively can she get any growth initiatives going when she's going to have to get it through Congress to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not saying there's a downside. I mean, what David described there is a little darker than that, perhaps. I think you saw the markets really get themselves into a little bit of a panic when it looked like Donald Trump was going to gain. Now that he seems to be fading a little, they're coming back around. I think there will be gridlock, probably. But if Donald Trump is defeated by a large margin, let's say, as opposed to something very close, the history in the U.S. tends to suggest that we don't really pay that close of attention to the losers after they've lost. And so I have no doubt Donald Trump is going to complain about lines in Nevada or whatever else that he says was rigged. But, once you lose the Super Bowl, I don't think anybody cares what your opinion was of the referee. And I think that if he loses big, there might be a window in which some of the Republicans, the traditional Republicans, would be open to doing some dealing with then President Clinton. And I think she would be open to dealing with them. So I'm hopeful that at least for a little bit, we could get out of the gridlock.
I think this time is different. They let the cat out of the bag. The establishment never should have allowed Trump to reach this point tonight. He's going to get 55 million votes. Maybe 15 or 20 of those
They couldn't stop him.
Well, but let me finish. Maybe 15 or 20 million of them are Republican regulars who would vote for Mickey Mouse. But the rest of them will be outraged if he loses. They have been taught by this campaign that the Clintons are the biggest crime family in American history. Whether that's accurate or not, it will be believed. There will be a vendetta from now until as far as the eye can see as a result of this campaign. This is not politics as usual. This is a watershed moment, and we're going to be in a political crisis, a constitutional crisis, a financial crisis like we've never had before.
Which plays to my point earlier about gridlock in Washington, doesn't it? Yeah, go ahead, Austin.
Well, look, I hope that it doesn't come to that. And all I would say is people's stated positions before the votes take place often have a tendency to change once it becomes clear that the country does not agree with them. So I would refer you back to previous government shutdowns where the Republicans went in feeling like they had the upper hand and saying, we're going to shut down the government, we're going to ram it down Barack Obama or Bill Clinton's throat. And then once the government shut down, very rapidly, the American people turned on Republicans, and you saw the Republicans back away from their most strident positions. So I don't think the fact that they are right now, that there's a core group of really gung-ho Trump supporters means that they will always be gung-ho Trump supporters.